start thinking about it. Rice might be on that Hall of Fame track.
Three batting titles? Yeah.
He's still got a few more years left to play.
I hope. Yeah, but that's a pretty good resume we're starting to build.
I tell you what, the thing that I like him doing, and I see a few more players now as well, is you're adding power, average, putting the ball in play. We're starting to see a little bit of a change in the sport, and it's got to happen. But I want to go back to Arraez and just look at, I did this a few weeks ago. I've kind of refreshed it for some of you that watch every day. All right, but this guy, where his contact point, where his head is at, it is all about head discipline. If you take your head where it's supposed to be, the bat, the body, everything else is going to be there. These are the little drills he does every day, just making sure his head is there. His head is not like this. His head is here on the ball, and I want to point that out a little bit later. But watch where he's here, looks it in, stays with it, and this allows you to track that ball. As you get older and the ball starts to move, you got to track it. And sometimes you take a pitch like he did, and then you work on it. That's not his normal swing. This is a drill, people. It's a drill. You take your drills to batting practice. Now watch what he does in BP. Does that look like he's doing this? No. But you work on overemphasizing things, so when you get on the field, it becomes a habit. Walt Reniak. You ever hear him, Mike Lowell?
Oh, yeah, I read his book.
Oh, man, Walt Reniak was a genius. And when I walked down to that old tunnel in old Fenway Park underneath, and he'd have his big chew in to be flipping the ball to guys, these are guys that hit with him. Those guys are what? All Hall of Famers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and he taught keeping that head there. Dwight Evans was taking BP one day in Boston. I said, what are you doing, Dewey? He goes, can you control the ball once it leaves the bat? No, I can't. He goes, why are you following to see where it goes? Work on keeping your head there. And that was the biggest change for me in my career. And then Wade Boggs was a master at being able to keep his head there. I played with Edgar Martinez. They named an award after him, the Martinez drill. Edgar had a bad right eye. And so every day he had to train his eyes so that he could follow the baseball a little bit better. And one of the things he would do was hit out of this little tube shooting balls at you, and he'd call out the number, 7, 6. I'm like, come on, Edgar, really? And then you could do it if you concentrated, you worked on it. Like this one here. Watch this, Mike. You see that? That was 1.
I didn't see that.
Oh, watch, yeah. See, there it is.
Oh, there you go. I like it.
But we used to do it on color. The numbers were hard to do. But Edgar does this thing, and it was amazing. He would do this every day. Train your eyes to track the baseball. We get so caught up and worried about our mechanics, and we forget about the one thing you got to do is see it and hit it. It's not just a slogan. It's a fact. You can't hit what you can't see. All right, so you got to train your eyes to track the ball. I'm going to go back and show you a little bit of me, but I just want to show you my head on the ball here. Look where my head is placed at. I'm hitting the ball out here, so my head is out here. If Mike Lowell throws a ball to me, or I throw a ball to Mike Lowell, let the camera back up, and you catch the ball, where are you catching it? Right there. And where'd your head go? To the ball.
Looking right at it.
You're looking at the ball. You're not going like this. No, you're looking at the ball. If it's here, you go see it. And I watch so many kids when I'm throwing BP and working on them, they'll go to hit, but they'll hit like this. The ball's here. If the ball's there, leave your head there. If the ball's there, you keep your head there. Ball's there, keep your head there. You got to take your head to the ball. So that's my little take on that. But strikeouts are still up. But teams that win, do they strike out much?
Oh, we're going to see why they don't. Yes. But, H, to your point, I think the pitching has gotten a lot better. That's understood. So it's normal to understand there'll be more strikeouts as the velo has gone up, stuff has gone up. Now they're using the analytics to get more spin and have more deception.
Yes.
However, that art of putting the ball in play, I think, was lost for a few years, where we don't care about the strikeout, we don't care about an RBI. You know, let's let the game. We don't care about innings pitched so much because the bullpen might come in and it's changed the perspective of how you approach the game. However, in this world, we're going to see guys that take advantage and teams that take advantage of putting the ball in play, and you'll see how far they go. So one guy that reminds me a little bit of Luis Arraez was my teammate Juan Pierre. You look at these lists. He went through about 100+ at-bats without striking out. And he was a guy where I think in today's analytics, he'd be buried because it was not a lot of slugging. He got thrown out a lot stealing bases, but that was his game. So what did he do well? He made the defense move around. He was able to put the bat on the ball so well that you get the extra bag. And during 162 games, as we can see here, look at this, two out of the 4, 143 and 147 respectively, plate appearances without striking out. For me, those guys, what they bring to the table is an ability to get 90 more feet for your team. During 162, we don't put a lot of emphasis on that.
Can I throw one thing in there?
Absolutely.
This point too? Have you ever been in a free throw shooting contest and your friend is hitting every shot, and then you roll the ball
Yeah, or
back
you spin
to
it to him. Yeah.
Well, our pitchers are seeing the same approach every time. Then here comes Juan Pierre, or here comes Luis Arraez. And they foul stuff off, and they become that gnat. They're the one guy you don't want to pitch to. And what's he do? He knocked them totally out of the rhythm. That happens as well.
It sure does. And I think when we get to saying how some teams are better positioned for the postseason, I think the lack of striking out and that K rate of being one of the better teams, meaning the teams that put the ball in play much more, are very prevalent. And those extra 90 feet become so important in the postseason that I'm going to take you back to Game 5 of the World Series with the Kansas City Royals. They're down 1 run. Check this out, H. Runner on second, no outs, 2-0 count. Mike Moustakas hits a ground ball. He gets in the third. Sal Perez hits a weak ground ball infield, and they check it. But the fact that he didn't strike out gives the opportunity to challenge a first baseman that does not have a good arm. Eric Hosmer ends up scoring the tying run. They end up winning the game in extra innings. They win the World Series. So, is there something to the formula? Check this out. This was startling to me.
Okay.
These are the World Series champs. Let's go back about 9 years. The Royals were first in strikeout rate, meaning first they were the best at not striking
putting the
out.
ball in play.
Yes. Astros in 17 first. Red Sox in 18 third. As you can see, Nats fifth, Dodgers third, Astros second. What does that tell me? We're in the world where we're trying to find that little edge. Who can get, better spin rate? Who can get a little more rise on the fastball? For me, this is the next level of the low-hanging fruit for roster construction. If you want to be good in the postseason during October, you have to be able to put the ball in play because every run and everything is so important. So now let's go back to last year.
And I was going to say, what happens when you put the ball in play? You put pressure on the defense.
100% errors happen. Guys move around.
See it constantly.
Let's take a great look at the Arizona Diamondbacks last year. This was a team, people were shocked they got to the postseason. They went on a World Series run.
Yeah.
This is Game 2, first inning. Christian Walker, if he punches out, you're a double play away from getting out of the inning. Sack fly, gets a lead, 1-0. Okay, next guy up, Gabriel Montero. Second and third, you got to get the run in. You can't punch out. Hey, little ground ball to shortstop.
Yep.
2 runs in the first inning.
Try to run for an out.
Yes, sir.
Anytime.
Guess what that game ended? 4-2 D-backs.
Wow.
4-2 D-backs. That's the difference in the game. Let's go now to Philly. This is Game 7, first inning. Runners on first and third. You got to put the ball in play weekly. No problem. You can't turn the double play. We're up 1-0. There's 1 run. We go to the top of the 5th, and this is the lost start. Look how easy Gerardo Perdomo looks. Bunt, gets him to second. We move the guy over. What happens 1 out later? Corbin Carroll gets a base hit. Guess what? You can't score from first on that hit.
Nope.
But you can definitely score from second. So that productive out that Perdomo gave you, put another run on the board. And then you're facing someone as nasty as Alvarado. Corbin Carroll puts it in play. Bam, that's 3 runs. Guess how that game ends? 4-2 D-backs. Yeah. They manufactured 3 runs in Game 7 of the DS or LCS. So, lowest strikeouts by team. Let's look at this year. Number 1, Padres. Royals, Astros, Guardians, D-backs.
Wow.
These are all playoff teams.
Yeah.
This is the formula to help your team's success. By the way, a nice note right here. Last season, San Diego was 7th in Major League Baseball. Not bad. They had Juan Soto, they had Blake Snell, but they kind of lacked that ability to drive in the run. Runners in scoring position, they lack. I don't know if this is a little bit of the Arraez effect. They're seeing that, hey, there's a lot of good things that come when you put the ball in play. You get the extra bag, you put a little pressure, the base hit now scores a guy. You can't always just hope for the double in the gap or the 3-run homer. It doesn't work, guys. Teams get cold, but if you can consistently put pressure on other teams, that might be another way to have a winning form.
And I'm looking at the Kansas City Royals, and that's not an outlier. They won 50-some games last year.
Yeah. They're close to winning 90.
They struck out a ton. Now look at them. Right back in it. It's good stuff, Mike.
Hey, thank you.
That's awesome.